Hi, welcome back. This is my series trying to build out Armitage tasks. This is in my earlier exploration phase of my project where I'm figuring out the different parts and pieces, how they look and feel, and then try to bring them all together. So, this is my expedition into Shadcn, which I'm thinking about using for the UI. Very cool library. It's something that I'm surprised there's not more of because it seems so simple, where it's very easy to copy and paste components from the library and use them. The way that you import them, you kind of can see how they function. It's not really hidden and it's not very much a mystery. So this is my jump into form submission. I know vaguely what I want the task data structure to look like at this point, and I know generally what I want the input to kind of look and feel like. So this is my jump into forms, understanding how the submission works. This also uses TypeScript, which is my first real foray into TypeScript. So there's going to be just a lot of learning. Kind of just scratches all the little things that I've been interested in and working my way around. So let's get into it. So just start setting up the basic structure of the app. The first thing that we do is throw in the theme provider to have a dark theme, light theme. Very easy to do with Next.js and Shadcn. You just throw your whole app between a theme provider and then add a toggle switch to go between them, which Shadcn basically just copy and paste it from Shadcn. Um, so they make it really easy, and it's as easy as I wanted it to be for every other time that I've tried to implement it, and it seemed overly complicated. So I really appreciate that from Shadcn. So this is, yeah, importing it. If you're not familiar with Shadcn, it's really great where you basically they supply you with the the code basically that you're going to use. They've got all these samples, and then you can just copy from their code, dump it into your own, and then edit it and change it however you'd like. You do a little npm install of the whatever that component is, and then it pulls in everything into a folder in your project. So you have access to like the back end side of these components, so to understand how they work. Um, but again, it seems very lightweight because you're just copying and pasting this code in. You can see how everything works. I've already said that, so I'm going to continue. Um, yeah, so you've got the theme toggle switch that you add in there. You got the drop down, and you can basically just pop that component wherever you'd like as your toggle switch. So yeah, so you drop it in, and then yeah, you can wrap it in a div to give it a little more control over how it looks. Um, and yeah, it has all of the like yeah the function, the calls on clicks and whatever. It's all there. Very easy to use. Um, and the documentation is very good. So I didn't find myself getting confused all that much running through it. So they make it very easy to kind of yeah just drag and drop, copy and paste what you're looking for, and then they make it very easy to nest the components inside of each other. So you'll see in this project we take a one of their card components and then we insert the form component inside of that, and the form still submits as it's supposed to. I did have some trouble during some of my exploration of getting a form to submit from a pop-up modal. I couldn't quite get it to submit properly. I did a little bit of Googling, and it seems like other people had that problem, and there are probably solutions out there, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be using this in my project, so I didn't go any deeper than that. I'm sure someone has solved that problem. So this starts to get into the form verification. Let me get that little window out of the way. Um, This goes into the form verification. So the when you submit the form or interact with the form, you can kind of check, is the user giving you everything you're looking for? So it's all those checks on the front end, without having to do any verification on the server side. Um, so it's pretty cool. I've never used Zod before. So you've got your Z object, which is basically going to be the object that the form submits. And then for each field, as part of the object, each value, you define what the name is and then what you're expecting from it. So whether it's a string, if it's an email, you can have your name, and then you can set the kind of like minimum characters, maximum characters, um, and it really is that simple to kind of like, yeah, set the parameters for each of these input fields, and then you can just import this component into the main form component, and it'll check it and anytime you try to change anything. So in this project we do a check. It's a two-stage form where there's like a sign up, and then a next step where you let me start over, where there's the email, name, student ID, year, and then next step would be the password, confirm password. So during that first step to second step, it checks your data on the first step to make sure everything's clean before you can kind of progress to the next phase. So then we get into setting up the form and the resolver. My understanding is that the resolver is the code that's the kind of in between, your form submitted and then that actual the schema that you established. The resolver seems to be the thing that kind of connects those two and then does the check comparing what you're looking for with what you're submitting, and make sure that it works properly. It seems like there's also so yeah, okay. So then you can also establish your default values here, when you're defining your constant variable that is your form. You can set whatever the blank space is going to be. Um, if a form is submitted without any information in it, what does the form submit? So that's what you get there, and then just establishing kind of a, for this first pass on a submit, what data is sent, and just to console log it to make sure that it's functioning properly, that it is sending data out of the form and the card. And it's really that easy. You copy and paste it, and then you've got these form fields. And this, so from this whole component up here is one of the fields. So this one is for your name, and the this value, this string here, name, connects it to the name that you defined on your in your like form variable, up here. So that name is related to this name, email is related to that email. I think as I built this, oh yeah, so you can add in even more checks inside of the Zod object, basically. So you can have messages, which are these error messages that kind of can pop up, dependent on the check that you have, and then that message responds if that check fails. So it's pretty cool and pretty easy to use. It's pretty intuitive to understand, kind of where the connections are and where to put the data that you need. So yeah, just exploring it, trying to like follow along with the tutorial. This is just, again, checking the data, making sure that it comes through properly, that it's formatted right. And if we were to be like, yeah, if for my purposes, I would be like submitting this for as a task, and that would then add it to the array of tasks. Um, and then would be storing it to local storage, and then probably the Firebase storage database, Firestore. I go on a little tangent here, trying to get my Emmet to work properly. I know there's a way to wrap things in a div. I forgot what that was for a minute, so I'm just popping back in and being reminded on what that shortcut is. Yeah, so as we work through here, this is another interesting thing with Shadcn. So this CN here is the CN in Shadcn. This is another one of those things that I haven't quite wrapped my brain around exactly. I wonder if this is context. Um, Again, this is my exploration phase, so I don't exactly know what this is. I'm following tutorial. I believe this is probably context, which is a React thing that I've one of those jargon terms that I keep hearing that I'm slowly starting to understand its relationship. Um, but anyway, yeah. So Shadcn, you can kind of pass the information about the state through the component, and that will you can set the state through the component this way, I believe. So that's what we're doing here with this. So this CN, so hidden form step equals 1. Um, so the form, like I said, it's 2 steps. You've got your first, your full name, email, student ID, year of study, and then when you hit next step, it goes to the password entry. So this CN is what would be the connection between kind of um, which portion of the form is shown in the card. Yeah, so that the CN is part of its own like utilities library. Um, I walk away from my computer for a second. And then this, yeah, adding in that next step button, that would be what it's triggered with, importing the icons, all basic React stuff. I probably should have imported oh yeah, I do the icon version, not the regular version. So that's a little smaller. And then yeah, doing the styling for the button. Nothing really too crazy going on here at this point. Um, the basic functionality is set up, and now getting into that state to switch between each screen of the form that's displayed. Um, yeah, being able to go back and forth. And then this trigger here is what happens when you click the next step button. So this is what triggers the form to be like, oh, hey, you want to go to the next step? Let me make sure that the data you've input is proper. So the form trigger, you kind of list out that's what you want it to be checked. And then you tell it what you actually expect from it. So you get the info from the form, and then you check those variables. Is it dirty? Is it invalid? Does it match the types that you had set up for it? Does it match your schema? And then that will trigger whether these warnings are shown or not. Stay on task, man. So we go into, what are we doing next? Oh, this is adding a toast feature, which will do a little pop-up if the email or if the password is not correct between your regular password and your confirmed password. This uses the toast to kind of pop up and just let you know. So a little nice like quality of life UX. No, I guess it'd be UI, UX. Yeah, warnings are nice. And yeah, you can see Shadcn. That's a good example. That's not the scroll that I'm looking for. So you can see here the fact that this toast is red comes from the where is it on the it's not over there. Where is it? So you can see here, so this is the toast that comes in. The variant is destructive. So you've got these the titles, what the text says, and then the variant is what the styling is for the pop-up. So like most Shadcn components have multiple variants. So they've got like their regular one if you don't set anything, and then there's secondary, ghost, destructive. There's a few other ones as well, but it's really nice to get that feature without having to do a bunch of custom CSS or Tailwind styling. So then we use framer motion here to actually get the two kind of steps of the form to slide back and forth, have a nice transition between the two. So basically the form is one form, and then it's split into two separate divs, and then one div is on display in the card in one state, and then if that state changes, then it slides over, and the other div that's positioned next to it slides into view. So it's one form altogether, but there's that check in the middle with the next step, and then there's the final kind of submission of the password as part of it. So here we just do a bunch of styling and positioning just to get everything into the right location so it slides back and forth, and then it like happens nice and smooth and it looks really nice. And that's kind of where the project ends. Once the transition, oh, we're starting over. Once you get the transition done, all the form validation is done, everything submits properly, and it was very easy. There wasn't too many parts where I got kind of snagged up. The documentation for Shadcn is great. This tutorial was great. He's very thorough and goes through every step. And yeah, so I think for my own project, I think for Armitage tasks, I am going to use Shadcn. It seems, yeah, it seems capable. It seems like something that I don't know, had considered trying to build for myself, but it's done way better than I ever could. And there's the value in that. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.